That starting five from Bradley Hayes, a big man that has really come on strong for Georgetown, and the opening tap is controlled to the cues. Our officials, Ed Corbett, Les Jones, and Mike Stevens.
First possession for Syracuse. Interesting to see if they're going to try to get the ball inside into the basket or settle for an outside jump shot.
Benajay got his man airborne and picks up the foul. L.J. Peak as 0-on-0 in that situation, picks up the foul.
And that's an example right there of Benajay using the experience, getting to a spot, using a little hesitation, head fake, and getting L.J. Peak in the air and drawing contact. Again, the fifth-year senior, that's what experience gives you.
John Thompson, the third, already getting grief from his father about that tough non-conference schedule to open. You know, you got to play the game. It was the ACC Big Ten Challenge. You had to play Maryland.
Well, here's the thing about it. The beauty of it is, one, you didn't have two of your key players in Paul White and Trey Campbell, but you played close. Those games build character for later on in the season.
Well, the Radford loss was difficult, obviously. That's a tough loss that will affect their RPI. But yeah, I think you're right. This team is much better than their 3-3 record coming in.
Much better. This is a great test for them right now, attacking this Syracuse zone.
Peak off the drive and draw from DSR, knocks down the train. It's 3-2 Hoyas.
And that's the value of penetrating deep within the zone. Once you suck it in, now you keep your spacing. Peak able to catch and shoot in rhythm.
These freshmen from Syracuse are really going to impress you. Malachi Richardson's one of them. He can make plays when Syracuse really needs someone to step up. Roberson, junior from Union, New Jersey, very athletic, and it's 4-3 Syracuse.
And one of the toughest plays to guard is the 1-2 pick and roll. And Roberson did an excellent job of filling the open spot, able to catch in rhythm and shoot.
Copeland, too strong. Pulled down off the deck by Benajay. On the Duke transfer, gets it into Richardson's hands. Malachi. There's the toughness of Coleman. They're really happy to have him back, coming off a really bad knee injury. In fact, they tried to get minutes out of him back in 2013 when they last played a conference game, these two, and he's been out for about a year. They're hoping that he can add some stability.
What he adds is a big body inside that can take away easy layups, but also a good defender that can rebound the basketball.
Erickson, top of the key, off the delivery from Peak.
And that's the sweet spot in the zone for Georgetown. If you can get touches there, you collapse the defense, you take the shot, or now you swing it to the wing and get an open shot.
Coleman sets the pick for Richardson. He plays the nylon song. Both teams scintillating early.
And I love the pace of the game, because the more possession, I think, for Syracuse, the more rhythm they get into. Georgetown the same way. Again, you want to attack against the Syracuse zone. Defense is going to be at a premium for both teams here.
You don't see that incredible length in the 2-3 zone just because they don't have the size they once did. And you wonder if Hayes can take advantage of that. He's got some really good moves in the paint, and there's a foul spotted underneath.
Well, you may not have the length, but right here, Georgetown getting the ball right in the perimeter, right at the free throw line. Now you have a decision to make. Do I pass? Do I shoot? You talked about the length not being there, maybe on the back line, but they're so good at positioning you and getting you in areas where you feel uncomfortable that you may turn the basketball over.
Roberson picked up that foul. And here's Peak trying to penetrate the zone. The runner does not fall, and Roberson comes away with a rebound and a foul spotted as Peak went in over the back. And right away, LJ's got two, and that means JT3 will have to go to his bench. And right away, Trey Campbell, as advertised in our open, enters the game. They really think the sophomore from Washington St. John's College High School can help them with ball distribution. They just need more ball handlers out there.
Well, they do, and again, it takes pressure off DSR for trying to do everything. Trey Campbell can knock down jump shots. He's a capable playmaker. But again, it leaves pressure in the backcourt with his ball handling ability.
Cooney can't get the teardrop to fall, and Hayes outlets to Trey Campbell. Copeland on the wing. Oh, the iron kind early to Isaac, who hit a buzzer beater a year ago to knock out Butler in a game we had. Well, he has got deft touch and the kind of ability to explode in a game, and that can only help DSR.
Well, the quick push up the court allows Georgetown to get into their offense before this Syracuse defense was able to get set.
Remember, they are really watching the contact of the arm bars in college basketball. A lot of emphasis on that.
Well, we'll see the end result here of the jump shot in the corner, but the ability to get the ball up the court quickly before that long defense can get set. Now you have the opportunity to penetrate and get an open shot, able to knock it in with a little soft touch.
Derrickson got the foul for Georgetown. Roberson can't connect. And on the tap out, Copeland got involved and went over the back. That was Coleman who went over the back off the Roberson shot.
Tim, you've been involved in a lot of these games, and you talked about Cooney and DSR, probably the only two players that have played in this rivalry.
Yeah.
Don't you get the sense from the field right now that these young men understand what this game really means?
Yeah, this is a game that, you know, we hear often about millennials and do they really understand the currency of tradition?
Right.
In this case, they do. Belichier on a run out. Rejected. Derrickson got it. Roberson is hammered by Hayes. Boy, wake up the echoes in that sequence, huh? Rejection row, ready to go. Belichier takes it inside. Not today. Not when Georgetown plays Syracuse. Oh, that would make all of the purists happy. Fox College Hoops is sponsored by Ford. We go further so you can. A monument to the game of college basketball, Syracuse and Georgetown here on Fox this wonderful December day. And as you look at the Orange, they started out 6-0, won the battle for Atlantis, and those were quality teams that they knocked off to get there. The only loss, a clunker against Wisconsin, didn't shoot it well, got out rebounded, doubled up really by Bo Ryan's team. But Mike Hopkins believes that for them to have been in that game, given those stats, says a little something about his squad.
Well, a surprise start to the season for the Syracuse team, because you really didn't talk about them from the national perspective. And sometimes that's good, Tim, because now guys can fly under the radar, do what they need to do. I think they showed well in the battle for Atlantis, because one, they shot the ball extremely well. Right. Kind of showed us a new Syracuse, a new and improved. Now, tough loss against Wisconsin. Wisconsin is always tough on the road, but you learn from those type of experiences, and we'll see if that learning pays off on the road against this Georgetown team today. Good wins against UConn and Texas A&M in the battle for Atlantis. And even though Wisconsin's lost a lot of talent, you know they're tough. There's Hayes, and this kid has come out of nowhere, getting quality minutes. He's already scored more this season than he has in his entire career coming in. Watch his speed inside, Jimmy. He is pretty special. Well, I think Hayes understands now what his role is on the team. He's not trying to do too much of things that he can't do. You cut off the baseline right there for Cooney. Georgetown, 4 field goals by 4 different guys, so everyone getting involved. Trey Campbell running the point right now with Devontae Smith-Rivera off the ball. And that gives DSR a chance to be on the wing and create opportunities as an outlet passer or a scorer. High-low, they go, and it does not fall this time for Derrickson. There's a foul right on cue. And that's one thing Mike Hopkins talked about, rebounding out of the zone. If you don't put a body on someone, those loose balls, especially in the paint, are up for grabs. Excellent job that time by Georgetown, hustling to get an offensive rebound. Isaac Copeland has 5. Here's Cooney off the curl. Not this time. Pulled down by Derrickson. Excellent trap that time by Syracuse. Well, that's what makes their 2-3 special. Exactly. Huh? There it is. And they get a break out of it. Belichier. You know, that's what makes Syracuse's zone so much more effective than others, is they are athletic enough to make that kind of play out of it. But it's an illusion. When Roberson had the basketball, what happens is now you think you're open, okay? Or Derrickson had the basketball, you think you're open. it just freezes you inside before shooting to a turnover.
There's Hayes with that patented jump hook of his. The senior from Jacksonville has really been special early in this season for the Hoyas and figures to only get better as the season goes on. That three ball doesn't fall for Malachi Richardson. Hayes pulls down yet another rebound. It looks like he may be on his way to a double-double today. Copeland on the wing. Hayes again. Boy, he's just a rebounding machine.
Again, and I go back to this. What Hayes is able to do is position himself inside for either a pass to score or an offensive rebound. And again, I'm going to go back to this. By attacking the defense early and often, now you're out of position to rebound once the shot goes up, in particular from the corner. Hayes is able to position that big body inside and understanding where the ball is going to carry him on to be able to get an offensive rebound.
We were having a conversation about your days, and that's part of the day of this rivalry, Syracuse Georgetown. And you were telling me that you took your recruiting trip into Syracuse when you eventually went to Ohio State with someone that I think a lot of people would remember.
Oh yeah, it's interesting because Syracuse and Georgetown were in my top three coming out.
Yeah.
Kenny Anderson and I were coming out in '89, and we both took our visit and wanted to go to Syracuse together. Derek Coleman was the guy that I knew that took me on my recruiting visit.
Wow.
The problem was, it was late November, December, and it was too cold. And I went back home to Ohio and chose to stay with the Buckeyes.
Roberson with a pump fake. And there's Copeland with his length. Getting in the way. Smith Rivera on the other end.
Yeah, Roberson that time made the mistake of jumping in the air to make a pass.
Left-handed leaner won't go for Jesse Govan. Govan, another youngster from Queens Village, New York. Just into the game. Cooney with that wraparound pass that Roberson was not ready for. Leads to a turnover. Reggie Cameron just in.
An excellent use of the ball fake, understanding the defender was coming at him full speed, and just that little pump fake sidestep, one dribble pull-up, excellent job.
Another steal. Devontae Smith Rivera could not corral it. This is a 10-2 run now for Georgetown. They've opened up an 8-point lead. Just over 8 minutes gone by in Washington. Leiden, he's got great range. Trey Campbell runs it down, tries to save it, and does off Benedier. It'll go to Georgetown.
Sometimes, Tim, it's the little things, the fundamentals in the game of basketball. You see a defender running at you. Cameron able to pump fake, step into a nice jump shot. It's a battle here in D.C.
Budweiser salutes all U.S. military men and women. This Bud's for you. A 10-2 run for Georgetown, and they've opened up an 8-point lead moments ago inside the huddle with JT3.
Go and sit. Y'all go and get to the class. If it's not open, don't throw it. If it's not open, don't throw it. Then we just keep chopping them up. Keep busting your ass down here. It's down this end. Keep guarding, keep rebounding. Okay? Y'all are doing, figure out what we want to bring. Y'all are doing, keep doing what you're doing.
It goes right to the point right there. You see the intensity, but he talked about on this end, and he's speaking of the defensive end of the court. A lot of questions revolving around when you play Syracuse. Well, how do you attack them offensive? He's like, no. We got to play defense first of all to shut them down, and then we can get on the offensive end of the court.
And let me tell you, for John Thompson III, that's high-intensity huddle action there.
You think this means something?
Yeah,
this game means something?
By contrast to his father, he is much more soft-spoken in approach. He let his guys know he was happy with what he was seeing on the defensive end.
Better believe it. But that's where they're going to, make their money, so to speak, is on the defensive end of the court.
Nice rejection first by Coleman, but stick to it by Govan. Jesse Govan stayed with it.
But it's always tough when you have a big post player that can get deep penetration with the basketball. You collapse, but now you're out of position again to defensive rebound. That's why they're losing the battle on the boards thus far for Syracuse.
Leiden in some trouble. Has to utilize the pass off of the knee of Copeland. With 14 on the shot clock, they'll trigger it in. And this circumstances in the paint going against Syracuse early, and they haven't been able to loosen them with the 3 ball as they did early in the game in the last few moments. They need to hit threes to win most of the games they play.
And they got to figure out ways to get some easy baskets. That's something Georgetown has been able to do in this early in this first half.
Inside Coleman, and he just willed that one through. Got a late double from Copeland, and that ends the drought. But Syracuse 0 for 4 from downtown. We'll have to keep track of that as the game goes on.
Well, maybe with Coleman getting loose inside, Syracuse seeing the ball go in the basket will help them from their perimeter shooting perspective.
Great cut by Copeland. Shot clock winding down to 5. Right guy has it though, Smith Rivera.
And one of the best we have, not just in the Big East, but in the country, late shot clock, ability to create a shot, the shot that he wants, not the shot that the defense will try to dictate.
Caleb Joseph, sophomore, in the game for the first time, number 14 for Syracuse, gives it up to the senior leader, Benajay, again, unable to hit from downtown.
And give Georgetown a lot of credit, Tim. They're contesting a lot of these three-point shots by Syracuse.
Smith Rivera again. A little outside his range, but there's Copeland, ever athletic, coming away with the offensive rebound.
Long shots produce long rebounds. Again, Georgetown in a position to pick up the little loose change on offensive rebounds.
Campbell, a teardrop. Beautifully done. And a timeout taken by Mike Hopkins. They rise to their feet here in D.C.
Welcome. We have 3 Chevys here. All right. I want you to place.
Almost 11 minutes gone by. Georgetown has doubled up on Syracuse. But don't miss a single Big East basketball game this season. Add the full 2015-16 schedule to your calendar by going to foxsports.com/Big East TV. Tim Brando, Jim Jackson, happy to have you with us at the Verizon Center in Washington. And a turnover coming out of the break.
And that's something you don't want, the attention to detail. You draw up a play after the timeout, you come out and you turn the basketball over. Those miscues against a Georgetown team that has a lot of confidence just adds to the ditch that you're digging yourself with your Syracuse.
This is a very difficult situation you've got to think, too, for these players to play a game of this importance. Yeah, it's non-conference, it's December, but to be told that they're not going to have Jim Boeheim with them just days before, this is a very unique situation for them to be in. Shot clock winding down again. The right guy's got it. This one goes crying, but they get yet another offensive rebound. Coleman pulls it away off the deck. Cooney, rejected by Cameron. Here come the Hoyas again. White, another freshman, out to Cameron. Not this time. Well, Paul White was an amazing freshman a year ago. Now a sophomore. They're really happy to have him back. He got sick and was unable to go. The combination of he and Campbell, who had the hip problem, really kept Georgetown from being the kind of team that they really are at this stage of the year.
Yeah, but what happens too, you lack the continuity with your players.
Yeah.
Your depth now becomes a factor when you get into foul trouble. Ball handling, playmaking, and then just flat out understanding how to play. Paul White has an old man game. And not that he's not athletic, but he understands how to play angles defensively, offensively. Right there, the correct pass outside. You miss those kind of things when he's not on the basketball court. So to get him and Campbell back into the mix provides you not only scoring, but bodies on the court that's much needed.
Yeah. And with guys like Mikhail Hopkins and Joshua Smith all gone, you really need those stability glue guys on the floor, and White is really one of them. Campbell leaves the game, as does Smith, Rivera, and Govan. as Georgetown goes a little deeper into its bench. Trey Morning, son of Alonzo, is checked in for the first time, number 32 in gray. Jonathan Hayes is also back on the deck. If you've just joined us, Jim Boeheim beginning a 9-game suspension by virtue of the appeals process. Syracuse did get some of its scholarships back, and that's good news. Jim has already announced that after 3 years he'll be done and Mike Hopkins will take over. Mike will be coaching really all the way until the North Carolina game, when Jim will reemerge on the sidelines. And there's a foul that's spotted on the run out by Paul White. In front of the National Archives, get your skates ready. It's an 18-4 run right now, and Georgetown skated out to a nice lead. Fox College Hoops is sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink reasonably. You know, you don't want to get one of those tests late in the day. You just don't. Right now, you could say they've taken a bite out of the orange by attacking that zone so beautifully, Jim Jackson, as you look at our game summary.
Well, here's the thing about the zone defense is that you have to keep it moving. If the ball sticks and plays to the advantage of Syracuse and Georgetown in the first half here, you swing it from side to side, and guess what? The zone has to shift with you. And now when you get it back, you can attack and exploit the gaps. And you see Trey Campbell right there taking the great opportunity to do that. So coaches always preach this. When you get the ball, make a quick decision. You don't have a shot, you make a pass and you move. If you don't, this long zone defense, as we've seen in the past, will cause a lot of headaches for opposing teams.
Well, we talked about Benajay being important. Leiden is also an outstanding three-point shooter, 50% on the season coming in. Howard is checked in also for Syracuse. They got to find a way to play Drano from downtown. Benajay lost it on the way in, stripped. Johnson was over there to shot clock.
Well, what I think it helped with Syracuse is the ability for them to also move the basketball, get into the gaps, force Georgetown to have to help. And that's when you have those drive and kick opportunities that we saw from Syracuse early on in their last few games.
Just 6 points in the last 8 minutes for the Orange. And they trail by 14. Malachi Richardson can't get it to go, but an offensive rebound leads to Benajay from 3. And the offer continues. It's now 0 for 6 for the 'Cuse.
Well, it seems like also 'Cuse is taking a lot of these shots under duress, where Georgetown is a free movement, flowing offense, allowing them to get high percentage shots.
There's a deflection out of the zone, and that's what you're accustomed to seeing Syracuse do.
Be active with their hands.
Richardson can't hit the 3, drive it inside. And Roberson will be guilty, going in over the back for that offensive rebound. Tyler's got 2 now as you look at Mike Hopkins, a part of that team late 80s, early 90s when they were recruiting the likes of you. He was a part of it. Adrian Autry also on that club. I was talking to a walk-on, Steve Keating, who was with that team, who's here in business and sitting right behind us, and he said, gosh, he had a motor. As a player and as a leader, you knew he had the motor to become a coach one day.
Well, he's there. He's intense. He understands the gravity of this moment, but I think him being calmer, I think, has settled his young men down. Now, they just have to figure out a way defensively to take away these easy baskets, but offensively, get into a rhythm.
Yeah. Smith Rivera with time winding down. Triggers it. Johnson can't get it to go. And a break opportunity for Cooney. Look at the transition by Georgetown.
Excellent defensive position early on for Georgetown to negate what could have been a fast break opportunity for the Orangemen.
And you would have thought for a moment there they were going to get an easy basket. And Georgetown just got back there in droves. Shot clock under 10.
It just seems like help is everywhere for Georgetown.
That's Cooney's spot, and he finally puts one in. 1 of 8 now, Syracuse, but that could be ominous. Remember when that bucket went down for Cooney and for Syracuse.
Well, excellent job of Cooney relocating to the open area to get that shot.
Hayes. Boy, I tell you, call it smoke and mirrors if you want, Coach, but this kid's pretty good.
Well, but also there's an easy pass inside. It posts up right in the middle of the lane. Nice little jump hook inside from Hayes.
No hesitation either, Joe.
At all.
Every shot is a tough one, Roberson takes it inside. 28-17 the score as Syracuse looks to warm up.
Well, you notice the last two possessions for Syracuse, you had more player movement, body movement, and ball movement, able to get the kind of shots that you want.
White for three. Kick out. Roberson had it, lost it. And on the retrieval, a quick reach-in foul, which will go against Caleb Johnson, the freshman from Martinsville, Virginia, and Carlisle High School.
Just a little something simple, but knowing your teammate Benajay out to Cooney, knowing exactly where you're going to be, and that's never giving up on the play.
Well, you see where the points come from this season, and clearly when you're 1 out of 8, you're in trouble. And they are simply trying to maintain position now and hope to get that fluidity you were talking about. And sometimes it just takes one to go down.
It does. It's all about a game of rhythm. If you get rhythm jump shots, now you're able to get back into it. But that's the state of college basketball in the NBA, is that you need to be able to shoot the three.
Benajay, not there. Roberson, a rare offensive rebound and fouled by Hayes.
And how about Syracuse taking a page out of Georgetown book in regards to offensive rebounds off of a long shot, giving yourself an opportunity to score, or, as you see, Roberson able to get to the free throw line.
That's one of the few times you'll see Bradley Hayes
give a position like that.
Yeah. It's very rare that he would, because he's a position basketball player in the pivot. He ball fakes don't normally get to him like that.
At that time, I think because of the shot, he got buried under the rim a little bit more than he wanted to. Roberson was able to use his body to kind of carry him the rebound in. An excellent use of his body to draw contact on Hayes for the follow-up.
A 9-point game. Georgetown with control.
But doesn't it seem like Georgetown would be up 15 right now? It has that feel. So Syracuse has done a good job of keeping this lead below double digits to give themselves a shot before the half end.
Yeah, trying to survive till the break. That's sort of where they are. Derrickson rattles it home. Brewster Academy, Bowie, Maryland, the freshman of some influence, 31-19.
Yeah, that time Tyler Roberson overplayed that position, went for the steal, which opened up the jump shot on the wing.
Benajay, good bounce pass delivery to Roberson.
Oh, I love the two-man game. That time you emptied out the corner, you forced the help on the opposite side. Excellent pocket pass inside. You can't get it easier two than that for Roberson.
Well, he's able to finally get into the scoring column, make something happen. You can see the athleticism that Roberson brings.
But it was a quick hitting play, and that time it allowed him to have the weak side free because they didn't hesitate on execution.
Well, he's got the last 6 Syracuse points. Campbell. That's an air ball, and the Orange take over. Fox College Hoops is sponsored by Cialis.
When a moment turns.
At halftime, highlights from around the Big East. Butler hosting Indiana State. Seton Hall facing in-state rival Rutgers. Plus, number 3 Michigan State trying to improve to 9-0 on the season. Tim and Jim, back to you.
All right, Ryan, thank you. A busy day for you guys in Los Angeles with all the goings-on in intercollegiate athletics. And we look at the recap, Jim, of the Hoyas season to this point. And again, you got to take into consideration the personnel that Maryland and Duke have, and really where Georgetown was in the evolution of their team due to injuries and sickness. And frankly, they would be better than 3-3 right now if it weren't for that.
Well, they're better than the record indicates. You lose some tough games that you didn't have your full complement of bodies in play, but you still competed. So you can always take something out of that by looking at tape. But again, I think it'll pay dividends for them later in the season that other guys had a chance to step into big games and get some experience.
See if someone other than Roberson gets involved in taking it to the basket. Benajay has really struggled with his shot, and he's a rhythm guy. You keep wondering when Michael Benajay is going to break out.
Well, the beauty of it is that Michael Benajay will have the ball in his hands a lot. So he's able to create his own rhythm and get himself involved in the game offensively. So I'm not too concerned about that early on.
Cooney. Ooh, the iron unkind on Trevor's pump. That was a good-looking shot. one that he can make.
The thing about Trevor Cooney is that you got to guard him beyond the three-point line. He's not bashful about taking a 23, 24-foot shot.
Oh, great work by Roberson. They tried to play high-low, and he took it away. Benajay on the run out. Count it.
There it is. Excellent defensive rotation that time by Roberson, not giving up on the play. And immediately the ball is outletted, transition, penetration. Michael Benajay with the trailing three.
My partner, it's all about Rhythm Nation, and that's what he's got when he's stepping into that three, and that's exactly what the doctor ordered.
And it really is.
Devontae Smith-Rivera looking for a cutter inside that zone. Shot clock at 5. Beautiful pass. Maybe one too many, though. They're running out of time. Smith-Rivera had to launch it, and it's a violation. I thought once they got it to the middle, that last kick out was a little late.
Well, inside right here, defensive rotation, but now Syracuse able to get out and run. Trevor Cooney inside, one dribble, Benajay with the shot. But again, Trey Campbell wasn't ready to shoot once the ball came inside and out. Now you give it to DSR, and he has to throw up a Hail Mary.
Yeah, there was a lack of awareness, I thought, when that ball went inside. Roberson, too strong. Georgetown continues to block out beautifully. Copeland takes down that rebound.
And that's part of the defensive philosophy. Kick it out. Roberson is going to beat you with that jump shot. You make your adjustments. You'd rather him shooting the basketball than Benajay or Cooney.
Copeland will get to the line.
And that was an excellent pass that time interior-wise. It was close quarters inside, but Levant able to handle the basketball with a cutting Copeland, almost like a handoff in football.
Yep.
With inside that zone.
Govan gave it up. Copeland gets to the free throw line.
And really when you see that too, with the zone defense the way it is, to be able to make a pass like that in such close quarters.
Yeah. By the way, Roberson just got his third. Now, he's been the most productive player.
And
active
active.
player. Yeah.
Yes.
So Hopkins is going to get him out. DeJuan Coleman checks in. And that puts the onus in the last 65 seconds on Cooney and Benajay to make something happen, because Roberson has been, as you mentioned, the most active player out there.
Yeah, and what you want to do for Syracuse is cut into this lead, take a little momentum in halftime. You haven't shot the ball extremely well, but yet still you're in striking distance. So you don't want to lose some of that to Georgetown, and particularly when you're on the road.
Benajay giving it up. Georgetown's defense really solid here. Richardson having to give it up. Shot clock winding down again. Benajay forced to take a tough one. Can't get it to go. Govan with a rebound.
An excellent defense that time by Georgetown, but it was also help defense. As soon as Syracuse thought they had an opportunity, the Georgetown defender was stepped right in the way.
Now they're playing excellent defense.
Help side defense.
Today's game is sponsored by Ford F-150. Every other truck is history. You made a great point, though, Jim, that Syracuse, even playing poorly, shooting very poorly from downtown, only 9 down. So you can effectively look at Roberson and say, thank you for keeping us in this game. The freshman from Elizaville, New York, just outside Albany, has really carried the Orange. Now he's forced to sit with 3 fouls in the closing seconds of the first half.
What he gave you was a lot of energy on the defensive end of the court. And we saw the two-man game where he was able to roll to the basket and get something easy inside. So it's important on this defensive possession. 1, you don't foul.
Yep.
2, you force Georgetown to take a contested jump shot. And now you have about a 5-second differential in the shot clock and the game clock to get a high-quality shot again, to cut into this lead, to give you a little confidence going into halftime to say, hey, listen, haven't played extremely well, but we're still in this basketball.
About a 5.5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Copeland was the cutter. Cameron retrieves it for Georgetown. Reggie Cameron again. .36-24, time winding down for Benajay. He'll take it to the rack. It's knocked away. Cooney does not go. And listen to this crowd respond. Georgetown's bench pinching a shutout, 11-0 over Syracuse. Well, coming up, Brian Fields, Steve Lavin, and Donnie Marshall will have stories revolving around the Big East. And oh, by the way, some outstanding analysis of what has been yet another prize possession. 20 minutes more of Georgetown Syracuse after this break.
On the right track, but I was going the wrong way. They say dig where you stand, but I can't stay. Dig my own grave. Today I say I feel like screaming till my lungs are nowhere. Feel like running though I don't know where. Feel like laughing till I'm drowning in tears. For the first time in years I feel good as hell.
The music may change, but the story remains the same when these two get together. Georgetown and Syracuse. Whether it's a conference game or intersectional, it always matters, even in December. As you look at the numbers from the first half, it's clear the bench was getting it done for Georgetown, but the inefficiency of Syracuse from downtown was a real problem, along with Jimmy Jackson, Tim Brando. How do they warm up, and how do they get more than just what they're getting from Tyler Roberson in the second half?
Well, they have to move the ball, create opportunities, but give Georgetown a lot of credit. I thought in the first half they excelled in 3 different categories. One, they were able to move and shift the defense, that zone that we always talk about, to get easy opportunities, because when the zone is shifting, now you're going to find gaps. And when you find gaps, you got to take advantage of an aggressive defensive play. Now you got a jump shot. Also, offensive rebounds. The shot goes up. Syracuse unable to put a body on, so you see one of the 7 offensive rebounds. And now passing the basketball, interior passing, 8 assists on 13 made field goals for Georgetown.
I mean, you look at the story, and Bradley, Hayes, and Roberson. Hayes, a veteran, but a guy that's just gotten on the scene offensively. And Roberson, as we mentioned, a freshman. Help from Tyler London is needed. The junior Roberson has been a difference maker that's kept Syracuse in this game to this point.
Well, it's a difference when you accept your role, Tim, and do what you're supposed to do, how it benefits not only yourself but your team.
Nice play by Benajay getting into the passing lane, and the Hoyas begin with a turnover.
And that's what I talked about. It seems like you're going to be open at times, or the pass is there. Then that quick rotation by the long arms of Syracuse turns into what could have been a shot, into a steal.
Nice cut. Coleman takes it in. And it goes the other way. Player control foul for Coleman as he ducked that shoulder in there and picks up his second foul.
Well, this is an excellent 2-man game on the weak side. Again, pocket pass inside, but the rotation was there.
Yep.
And give a lot of credit to Georgetown defense. Richardson, you don't stay on one side of the court. When the ball shifts, you shift.
Well, Coleman is not a high riser, but he is physical, and they need that physical presence. Smith Rivera looking for a pick, could not get it. There's Copeland on the wing. He is an outstanding wing shooter and knows how to take big-time shots. He did it to Butler a year ago.
And Copeland was the recipient of an open shot, but give again Georgetown a lot of credit. The ball is hopping on the perimeter. No one is holding on the ball like a hot potato. They're holding on to it like a hot potato, getting rid of it early.
Largest lead of the day. It's up to 15. Syracuse needs an answer. There's a steal by Copeland. Any indecision, and the Hoyas will swat it away.
Yeah, but Coleman has to understand that this aggressive Georgetown defense is swarming. You have to have eyes in the back of your heads. If not, as a result, you turn into a turnover and an opportunity for Georgetown on the opposite end.
Well, their last 2 possessions, the Orange have turned it over. Copeland is feeling it now. Too strong with the clock winding down. Derrickson with a follow.
And the little things that Derrickson is bringing to the table. We saw it on the defensive end of the court, and now offensively sliding that big body underneath to get an easy putback for Georgetown.
Malachi Richardson gets the job done, taking it inside. But contact again with an offensive foul, says Leslie Jones.
And guess
Wave it
who?
off.
And guess who was back into play? Derrickson was inside, again, anticipating the drive to the basket, feet set, body, arms in the air. And these are the little things that defensively, offensively, we talked about playing your role and knowing who you are as a player. Prime example with Derrickson on these last 2 or 3 plays.
Well, that's 3 trips and 3 turns for Syracuse. That's that old saying about the lost art. You know, you got to sometimes pull up and take one. Drano from Derrickson.
Why not? Why not? You're feeling it. The teammates are cheering you on. Look at the smile on his face right now.
The lead has ballooned to 20. Roberson misses a dunk. Cooney pulls up. That's going to be a block. Copeland went over there with the hopes that Cooney would take it to the rack, but Trevor was smart enough to angle away from that, and Hopkins looks on. Very difficult set of circumstances for Mike, longtime assistant, associate head coach, and future head coach for Jim Boeheim's program, and the Hall of Famer is back home. And if you saw the pregame show and you caught my interview with him, when I mentioned last conversations with Jim, he welled up. I mean, his eyes were, he was clearly emotional about the set of circumstances that he faced this week. He was prepared to take over, but not now. I think he really felt that this game, Jim Boeheim would be with him.
It feels like a conference game.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like that. So the magnitude of this rivalry is unlike any other that Hopkins could come into. So, yeah, it's going to be emotional. He played it and he understands it. And with Jim not being on the sideline, you're kind of catapulted into a situation where your team struggled against Wisconsin. Now you got to come back on the road against a tough Georgetown team.
And don't let that calm demeanor that you see from him. You know, when you're the assistant coach, there's a body language that you must have, particularly when Jim is the leader. But he is as competitive, one of the most competitive players that Boeheim ever had on his team. And he was on some great basketball teams at Syracuse.
Well, that's the reason why he's Coach Boeheim's #1. That's the reason why.
Pete for 3. Too strong, taken down by Roberson.
And this is where Syracuse has to take advantage, get out in transition.
Richardson going reversal in his foul.
Finally, Syracuse able to, one, get a defensive stop. Now get out in transition. Use that athleticism to beat Georgetown down the court and try to get to the basket, get some momentum going. Excellent job that time by Cuse.
Derrickson got the foul, his second. You know, Derrickson really had his coming out party in that Maryland game. Right. He had 21, and we know how good the Terps are. He carried them in that game, and I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons I felt Georgetown would have a good season was on the basis of that performance against Maryland.
Well,
it sent a message to me.
Well, keep in mind this, with Derrickson having 21, how many plays you really think were ran exclusively for him? Right. You don't need to run plays because he has an understanding of how to get his offense within the offense.
The lead is 18. 3.5 minutes gone by. Hayes was impacted but stays with it. Again and again. Round and round and in.
Listen, the simple plays a lot of times, yeah, you throw an air ball up, but when the ball bounces your way, it has the tendency to come back to you. And Hayes, that time, stayed with it, and the reaction tells you a lot about how much this game means, not only from an individual perspective, but for Georgetown as a whole.
We're talking about a kid that only played in 17 games a year ago. But in the opening round of the NCAAs against Eastern Washington, the switch went on, and it's carried through to this season for him.
And you never know when that switch is going to turn on, but Coach Thompson, you're glad it did.
Not much help from downtown from either Richardson or Leiden today. They've been shut down. 47-26. Syracuse is 2 for 14 from three-point range. That stat alone tells you why they're down by this much. Nice deflection by Leiden. And another one from Smith-Rivera. Tries to save it. Syracuse comes away with it.
Syracuse is going to have to do a better job of not settling for jump shots. I thought when they kind of got into a rhythm, they really attacked this Georgetown defense off swings and off the dribble.
Finish it.
Never mind. Never mind.
He just pulled a Jimmy Jackson on you.
That's right. Just
That's right.
sit over here and be quiet. Allow me to reintroduce myself, so to speak. But
I remember when you were playing, Gent would be down on the block saying, give it to me. Get it to me.
he was open sometimes.
Pete in traffic. Stays with it. Tipped in by Hayes. The kid is everywhere.
3 offensive rebounds for Georgetown. That's unacceptable. Your coach Mike Hopkins.
Leiden, too strong. Just not in rhythm today. There will be another day for that freshman. But a freshman and a senior, but a new kid on the block, so to speak, in Hayes. Derrickson from deep. And Hayes, he's a senior, but he's truly a new kid on the block in the history of Georgetown bigs. Fox College Hoops is sponsored by USAA, proudly serving the military community and their families for over 90 years. Georgetown leading by 20, opening moments of the second half. And you know, most people believe that this rivalry became truly big in their first ever Big East game back in 1980. Syracuse was number 2, needed a win for the inaugural Big East title. It was the final game in venerable Manley Fieldhouse, and afterwards, Big John proclaimed Manley Fieldhouse is officially closed. Georgetown had gotten the win. And you know, you go through the years, and I remember Dave Gavitt telling me when he was alive, boy, the love-hate relationships is what made our league special. And trust me, with John and Jim and so many of the other great coaches of that era in the Big East, Louis Carnesecca, Rolly Massimino, even Patino and Carlissimo when they came into the league, it was about the love-hate, you know, that made the league so special.
I grew up a Big East fan. Yeah. I mean, watching the game. I still have VHS tape for St. John's and Syracuse in the Big East championship, and that's what I got my love for basketball by watching these teams battle.
Leiden, nice dish to Coleman. Boy, that was Sunday best variety. The best, as I said, going to break. Yet to come from this freshman, Tyler Leiden.
But you like the fact that out of a timeout, Syracuse is able not only to execute the play they drew up, but get a score out of it. What did they do? They went to the basket.
Hayes. Well, he could just wait for that delivery high-low from Cameron.
Hayes, again, the recipient, but again, excellent high-low, excellent passing on time, on target by Georgetown.
Leiden now into some rhythm. This kid can really pump it. Look out if he gets warm.
Beautiful stroke. But I love that he didn't lose his confidence in regard to not playing well and then shying away from taking that open shot.
Hopkins is really high on the youngster.
As he should be.
Cameron with a good find. Anytime you find Smith Rivera, not there. Tap out, taken by Franklin Howard. End to end, wave it off. Foul will be spotted. It is a block prior to the shot against Pete.
What happens, once again, I talked about in long shots, especially from the corner, it allows a long rebound. Now Syracuse able to get out. Now, Georgetown on that particular occasion did a poor job in transition of stopping the ball early. Right now, DSR kind of pointing. So now you're able to give a little bit momentum to the offensive player to get to the basket.
Howard, by the way, played at Paul VI in Fairfax, Virginia, so just a little bit of a homecoming for him in the game. There's Leiden again from downtown. But the garbage is picked up by Howard, and the homespun star gets one in, 51-36.
A little momentum creeping to the side of Syracuse the last few possessions. The bounce is in their step defensively.
That's where it all starts, right there. First pass to Copeland, and if he doesn't nail it, you got Hayes down there. to pick up either a pass or an offensive rebound.
But it was a quick decision. Once he caught the ball, he turned, squared up, identified where the rim was at, and went right into a shot.
Tough shot for Howard in traffic. But Leslie Jones spots a foul. It'll go against Smith Rivera with an armbar. JT3 disagrees.
It's all about quick decisions here. An excellent pass inside. As soon as he bounces on the floor, turns and shoots, that doesn't allow the defense now to react to the pass at the free throw line. Excellent decision that time by Copeland.
And Coleman got that chicken wing out a little too much. Mike Stevens spots the foul. It'll go the other way. Third foul on DeJuan Coleman.
Yeah, you love the aggressive post-up position play by Coleman, but you have to be a little bit smarter in that situation not to pick up a cheap offensive foul.
So he sits with 3. Roberson checks in with 3. As we mentioned, they're happy just to have him back.
Big body. And as he gets back into rhythm, that'll pay dividends for this Syracuse team, in particular on the defensive end of the court.
Nice maneuver. Copeland, hammer time. Off the dish from Trey Campbell.
Did you see how quick and explosive? It's like someone hit the eject button on Copeland. The powerful move inside and finish.
Roberson's going to attack the rack. You know that. Counted in a foul. Free throw when we come back. An old-fashioned three-point play may be happening. Well, your name may be Trey. That doesn't mean you have to take one. Just dish it and let Copeland do the rest. Hello, how do you do? Syracuse.
One of the
Is so pleased to have that matchup. Villanova, Oklahoma is going to be something special.
Buddy Hield for Oklahoma really stepping out there as one of the potential national players of the year. And of course, the balanced team of Villanova, young Brunson on the squad, Archie Diacono, senior leadership. It should be a good one.
Yeah. What a weekend it'll be on the island. You got Bradshaw and Raftery to deal with.
How did they get that? Why can't it be me and you? I think we could have did a good job.
Yeah, I think they did a focus group and found out that we cue a lot better domestically.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that's the deal. Trey Campbell has made a difference with that ball handling capability. John Thompson III told us before the game he was so pleased to have him ready to go in this game especially. And he was prophetic. Smith Rivera off the back iron. Cooney clears it. He has numbers. Benajay from downtown. And a push off by Leiden.
Just can't seem to get that consistent rhythm for Syracuse. You see some stretches where they're beginning to make a run, but then it kind of falls off. And sometimes as a team, you have to figure out ways how to battle through when the shot is not falling. I mean, whether that's locking down defensively and then trying to figure out ways to get easy baskets, get to the free throw line. Syracuse just hasn't gotten into that sweet spot yet.
Well, JT3 is getting the best of his team on the defensive end of the floor. There's a reach. Foul will be spawned against Howard. And he has really gotten great defensive transition, and you got a feeling that maybe after Syracuse made its first 3 that they could warm up, but every one of them are stress shots.
Well, here's the thing. During that timeout, Coach Thompson talked to his team, really stressed to his team, we can't go basket for basket. Even though you're up 17, you don't want to start giving rhythm to this Syracuse team who you knock down a few three-pointers. Now you cut that lead in half, and the pressure now becomes on Georgetown.
At the pick. Smith Rivera got it from Garrettson and delivered the goods.
And the beauty about Smith Rivera is this. Not shooting the ball particularly well, but he's not forcing out the shots because he knows his team is in a rhythm. Speaking of rhythm.
Yeah, Cooney finds it, and it's 58-42. That's the thing about Devontae Smith-Rivera, he lets the game come to him. He knows with this team he's got to score more, but he's never going to force it.
But he doesn't have to score more in this particular instance because his teammates are doing their job.
Cooney with a push that time. He and Smith-Rivera going for it. I think Trevor thought he had a deflection out of bounds without the foul, so he's got that proverbial whodunit look on his face, and Ed Corbett says, yeah, that's a foul.
Well, you know, Trevor Cooney's always going to give you his maximum effort right there. He was a little bit behind on Smith-Rivera, which caused the body contact, but you see Smith-Rivera going to the free throw line.
That was a veteran move, really, I thought, by Cooney.
Oh, yeah. Well, you try to set it up.
Trying to sell it.
Force the official to make the right call.
Yeah. Cooney a pull-up off the front iron. A rare offensive rebound for Benajay. And the Q's clawing away as it down to 14.
And what you do if you're Syracuse, the mindset has to be one stop at a time, one offensive possession at a time. You're not going to get a 16-point play, but you can chop away at it little by little. But it starts on the defensive end of the court.
Nice defense by Benajay and by Lyden. 2 deflections. Here comes the Q's. Howard, a follow. Roberson running the floor. JT3's seen enough. Timeout. The Orange have scored 8 of their last 10 trips.
Defense correlates into offense rhythm right now in the hands of Syracuse, making a run.
Today's game is sponsored by USAA, proudly serving the military community and their families for over 90 years. Tim Brando, Jim Jackson, and Syracuse making a move here, only down a dozen, and Benajay coming along.
Well, it starts on the defensive end, trapped inside, and Benajay not giving up on the play, but watch right there, Lyden inside, out to transition, and Howard doing what he does best. Out, doesn't make the basket. But again, because your defense is able to get stops, and coaches always talk about this, too, consecutive defensive stops. Can we get it done? That's why you do the drills in practice where you have to get 3 stops and then you're out. Because of moments like this, and Benajay began that play with his quickness. And what I'm going to go to is the soccer part right there with his father. You saw a lot of that footwork on the play in order to recover quick enough to get a deflection.
It's rare that you see a Coach K transfer do so at all. In his case, he did it comfortably, and the relationship, of course, with Jim and Mike is so very close, having Jim on the U.S. Olympic team staff for so long, and Hopkins is part of that staff as well. One of the reasons why that was such a comfortable transfer for the young man from Richmond, Virginia. Trevor Cooney picks up his 4th foul there, and Smith-Rivera gets to the free throw line.
And I think what gets lost in all the competition a lot of times is that the closeness and the relationship that these coaches have. And I'm sure there was a conversation in there somewhere to say, hey, listen, it may be a better fit over here. Jim, what do you think? Mike, what do you think? And now that allowed the transition for Benajay to get there and really fit within this program.
You remember the kind of team they had at Duke at that time. It was just hard for a guy that could handle it and score it to have room on that roster at that time. It turned out to be a win-win.
Indeed.
60-46. Smith-Rivera shadowing Benajay off the ball. Trying to run through screens along that baseline. Lyden, good ball fake and delivery. Coleman could not convert it. That was a beautiful pass from Lyden.
And I'm going to say this about the Syracuse offense. That time Howard with a little penetration on the weak side, sucked into defense, over to Lyden, pump fake, and now inside to Coleman. As a result, you get a chance to get to the basket. And again, it was constant movement by Syracuse that opened up the lane for Coleman. Now, you would love for him to have to finish that. But it was the execution that time by Syracuse is something that you just want to kind of take a snapshot of and duplicate.
Yeah, he is hit. all of his free throws. They've only taken 3 with the addition of that one coming into today's game. He's a perfect 4 of 4 in the season at the line, and the lead remains 12. Trey Campbell checks in. LJ Peak, who has 4, sits down. This may be a nice finish. I'm anticipating this Syracuse run may not be done.
Well, let me tell you something. There's 8:30 left in this game, and you know how quickly momentum can shift and change.
All right. There's Smith. Excuse me. Trying to say, what was the announcer saying there?
He said, pump your brakes right now. Got this under control. But that's what seniors do. They understand time and moment, the gravity of the situation, step up and make a play.
Howard, not this time. Coleman trying to stay with it down there with Hayes. Smith Rivera on the floor was on the end line. But, excuse me, that's Copeland that was on the floor, getting himself up.
And that time, Tim, Coleman didn't get the rebound, but because of his big body and activity, now he allows his team to get another possession.
Malachi Richardson will trigger it in, the freshman from Trenton, New Jersey. Good look to Benajay. And the floor spread just the way they wanted it there, Jim.
I was waiting for them to allow Leiden to catch it at the free throw line, and a quick decision, weak side, to open Benajay for 3.
Copeland, his spot. Not this time. Derrickson again.
Guess who?
Stripped this time by Richardson. The orange on the move.
And they take advantage of the defensive stop on the opposite end.
Benajay giving it up. Shot clock at 10. Coleman challenges Derrickson. This one will be a block. Fans wanted a player control foul. He went right at his chest. Strength on strength. John Thompson III agrees with the partisan crowd. That's 4 on Derrickson. Fox College Hoops is sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly. As you look at our game summary, Georgetown leading by 12, but Syracuse getting warm from downtown. Roberson has been a major factor. 25 points in their last 8:09, which means John Thompson III going to work inside the huddle, talking D.
That's all good. That's all good. Hey, stop. Communication. Sprint back in transition. They're going to be pushing every time. Sprint back in transition.
That was a member of his staff, either Broadus or Hardy or Sutton. One of them said something about defense. And I love the way he just winked and nodded.
His head.
That's
right.
the JT3 way. A little bit of a democracy in his huddles.
Well, you love when your assistant coaches can add value and your players understand. But keep in mind, for players in particular, they always think about the default mechanism is the way we get in the game or get rhythm is offensive. And the coaching staff is like, no, you get stops first. And then you worry about the offense. It doesn't do us any good if we can't get stopped and we give Syracuse opportunities to get back in this game.
Coleman remains perfect at the line and leaves as Roberson checks back in. He was talking about transition, too, because he understands that Syracuse wants to push it.
And look at the pressure being applied by Syracuse right now.
And with a little full court pressure, but they break it.
And how do you break it? You get the ball up quick and you pass through the pressure, not try to beat a guy or the defense by yourself off the dribble.
Paul White has checked into the game, number 13 in gray. Trey Campbell, Copeland, there's Hayes. You know what's going to happen next. He gets it. He's got the moves. That jump hook has been outstanding all season for him. He's got 17 on the day.
And what Hayes provides you is a pressure release, where you're not just relying on jump shots. You can get it down low and get easy baskets like that.
Cooney for 3. The lead back to single digits. Over 6 to play.
If I'm Georgetown, again, I'm going to work the ball around and see if I can get another touch inside to Hayes. And he doesn't necessarily have to shoot the basketball, but Syracuse now is going to honor his presence inside.
White, what a pass! Oh, what a pass by White. And a foul, the end result. Malachi Richardson picks up the personal, his second.
And White does an excellent job of seeking out and finding the gap inside the zone. And the pocket pass inside for Hayes to just be able to catch, get up in rhythm, and draw contact.
By the way, it's a good idea, generally, to put this kid on the line.
Right.
You know, he's only about 60%, and he's been automatic. The thing I love about him, Jim, is that when he gets the ball, he doesn't mess around.
No,
he either passes it or he goes straight up.
And give credit to the coaching staff here at Georgetown, because if you notice, all the players make quick decisions once they get the ball in their hands. It's a shot. If I don't have it, it's a pass.
Cooney off the curl, not there. Hayes with the rebound for Georgetown. Mentioned at the very open that he could be in for a double-double day. He's now got 7 rebounds to go with all that point production of 17.
Syracuse defense now is extending out a little bit more, and you're going to have these passes that are available inside for Georgetown.
Smith Rivera with the shot clock winding down. Forces one up, not here. Hayes again. Wave it off. They're going to say the violation occurred. The clock had gone to the limit before Jonathan was able to put, before Bradley was able to put it in.
Yeah, DSR a little frustrated that time. That's about the 3rd time he's had to take a contested forced shot at the end of the shot clock. He said, listen, you know, this is really kind of affected my shooting percentage on these kind of shots. Next time you take it.
Spoken by box score
You
Jim.
better believe it. Don't throw it to me now when it's like 2 seconds left.
I'm going into the option year of my contract.
That's right. What's going on?
Timeout with 5 remaining. And Georgetown leading by 10. Well, a reminder, we talked about it being Championship Saturday. All one game, win and you're in. A de facto quarterfinal. Michigan State and the Hawkeyes of Iowa. 4th and 5th ranked, playing for the Big Ten title in Indianapolis. A possible college football playoff berth awaits. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Molly McGrath on hand. The action starting tonight at 7 Eastern, only on Fox. And every bit as physical as Big Ten football Bradley Hayes has been in the Big East.
He has kind of like a baby-faced look, but inside in that big body, soft touch, he's aggressive, he's assertive, but he's positioning himself inside to make these plays look easy because he's doing his work early on.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm very impressed. When I watched him on film, I said, this is the kid that played last year?
Right.
And he has really emerged.
Well, that's part of player development. A lot of times, Tim, it's not the physical, it's the mental part, believing that you can get it done.
Baseline cut off. White working on Leiden. Shot clock at 2. Howard's got a punt. Got off the back iron. Coleman saves it on a recycle.
Key is here. You don't have to rush if you're Syracuse. Get a high percentage shot. Get this lead under 10 points.
Leiden in traffic. Not there. Coleman on the offensive glass. Coleman again.
The benefits of having a big body, a fresh body. Coleman also feels he has something to prove. That he has to prove to his coaching staff that he deserves to be on the court. You keep playing like this, those minutes will continue to add up.
Yeah, and his opposition is playing very well on this end of the floor. Got to give it to the kid, playing really on a leg and a half after rehabbing for 18 months. Hayes again. He has 20. Benajay dogged by Smith Rivera. Cooney off the bounce. Not there. Look at Howard go after it. And a foul. Wave it off. Foul prior to the shot. 8 of 11 from the floor. 7 boards. Hayes picks up his 3rd. They are amping up the meter on defense. But Bradley Hayes bringing back memories of Ewing here.
So here I am.
Tubes is sponsored by The Revenant, January 8th, only in theaters. And a reminder that Budweiser salutes all U.S. military men and women. This Bud's for you. Tim Brando, Jim Jackson, here at the Verizon Center in our nation's capital. Yet another edition of the great rivalry that is Syracuse and Georgetown. And Trevor Cooney and Michael Benajay, the two big-time veteran players in their backcourt, you gotta believe, have to know what's at stake these next 3 minutes and 29 seconds. They got to get involved.
And it may not be that they're actually taking the shots, but being more aggressive to probe the defense, to create opportunities for their teammates.
Howard can't get it to go. And a quick foul will promenade to the other free throw line after that foul committed by Roberson, and that's his fourth. So not only unfortunate that Howard did not connect with the 1-and-1, but on top of that, it induces a fourth foul against Roberson.
And that's what one of the Achilles heel of the Syracuse team against Wisconsin, not only the giving up the rebounding, but down the stretch of the game, the lack of knocking down free throws when the clock is stopped.
Yeah, that got him in the double bonus too, so 2 shots here for Hayes. A remarkable performance for the Jacksonville native.
But what you love to see with Hayes is that you put in the work, and people say put in the work, it pays off. When you finally see it pay off. Now, this is only one game, but you're starting to see a trend with Hayes in his play and his confidence that could bode well for Georgetown.
Howard rejected, and the ball will be theirs underneath their own hoop.
And it's funny how when you're rolling offensively, your defense picks up, Tim.
Benajay fouled by Peak. And that's his 5th. So that'll do it for LJ. He'll be the first that is lost to foul difficulty. Trey Campbell will check in for him. And that's super bonus time for Benajay. He's at the line for 2. Players were unaware that they had gone into the super bonus. So he'll get a second shot.
But a missed opportunity at the free throw line. The clock is stopped. In order to get momentum, in particular Syracuse, you need to make this free throw. Now you can set your defense and set the pressure up and force Georgetown to have to beat that pressure. You never know. You get a turnover, easy layup, set it again. Well, this time they're falling back, which is kind of surprising a little bit. Down 10. With 3 minutes, kind of falling back into the zone instead of pressing up.
That tells me they respect the ball handlers on the floor for Georgetown.
And that could be the case.
Derrickson, high-low again. Rejected by Leiden this time. Good recovery defense. Derrickson again. Leiden clears. Benajay.
And I know Derrickson was open on that shot, but that's an opportunity for Georgetown to bring it back out and run some more time off the clock.
Okay, Howard is looking down low for Coleman. He wasn't ready for that. I think he thought Howard was taking the shot, and it turns into a turnover.
Well, Howard would have benefited better to take the shot because now you have inside position of Coleman to possibly get an offensive rebound.
Hopkins is asking them to pressure now, trap, and they do. I think he may have gotten it. That surprised the Hoyas a little. Howard does pick up his second foul.
Well, the coaching staff is saying, don't catch the ball that deep on the sideline, because now that sideline acts as a third defender because you don't have space right now to get the ball out and see Copeland right there kind of garnered inside. Luckily for Georgetown, Howard was so aggressive, he caused the contact, which ultimately got called a foul.
Yeah, he really bailed him out.
Yes.
That was a turnover waiting to happen. Campbell unable to convert. Talked about the youngster from right here in D.C., St. John's College High School. Really played his best at the close of last year. First bench points of this half for Georgetown. They pitched an 11-0 shutout in the first. Must-make time now for Syracuse. Benajay stays with it. Derrickson pulls it down. Georgetown really closing down anytime Syracuse takes it to the rack.
But it's a swarming defense, and this is something, again, that Coach Thompson talked about for us being Georgetown, what we must do. We must be aggressive defensively without fouls.
Derrickson will get to the free throw line. I think about Jim Boeheim at home and how after a month of him, Julie's really going to have a rough time. But it is a very difficult situation. You know, for him, watching the guy that's so close to him, Mike Hopkins, try to sweat this one out and know that he's got another month of this before he can get back on the sideline.
Well, it's not like the National Basketball Association where the players can kind of run things like they're doing in Golden State. It's so integral. You see the hustle right now by Georgetown.
Cooney trying to stay with it. And we've got a kick. It'll go the other way off the kicked ball, says Ed Corbett.
Well, and like I was saying, with Jim Boeheim not being here, you miss a lot. Because in college, it's about the coach. And that's not taking anything from Mike Hopkins and the coaching staff, but not having Jim Boeheim on the sideline in critical situations at the time because of his experience, you can't make that up.
Well, the emotions we got from Hop were raw today in our interview prior to the game. Cooney with a little pressure here against, there it is, Smith Rivera, that gets a pick. Benajay got his man airborne. That'll be three. That'll be three from downtown. Smart play. Benajay and Cooney collaborating there.
And here's the question here, and a lot of people don't like this rule. Let's see if when Benajay, after the steal, if he's up in the air vertical, excellent hustle by Cooney, getting his knees dirty right here, fake, and that time up enough, but DSR leans into the contest, which allows Benajay to ultimately pick up that foul.
Ed Corbett and Leslie Jones have gone over to check to see if it is a three, and it is. He leans in, yes, but the shot was being launched from downtown, and he was fouled behind the line, so he will get 3 free throws.
And again, understanding time and score, but being in this situation before as a fifth-year senior, used a pump fake again, knowing that DSR was going to try to contest that shot.
That big start to the second half, which got Georgetown the breathing room up to 20, really paying dividends in this stretch run as Syracuse began to warm up. That hole that they had dug was a little deeper after the first 4 minutes of the second half.
Well, you knew Syracuse was going to make a run, but the hardest thing to do when you have the lead is to play with the lead and keep that same intensity.
Campbell gonna pick up a foul. That one was almost taken away by Cooney from the backside, but yet another foul on a reach against Syracuse.
And Devontae Smith Rivera's talking to Campbell about, you got fouled, but there's smarter ways to break the press.
Right.
And you're going to play into the hands of Syracuse to be able to knock the ball from behind, slap down, because they play physical. You beat the press over the top. That time Campbell was fortunate to get away with it.
Malachi Richardson got the foul, his third. Cooney almost had the turnover in hand right about the time the foul was committed. He gets one of the two. The lead is 10.
Quick push. See if you can get a high-quality shot. Score, get your defense set up for Syracuse.
Cooney for three. Not there.
An excellent box out that time by 4 players of Georgetown.
He may be short, but he's got broad shoulders. And that time, Ed Corbett saw them commit an offensive foul.
And that time with Cooney, childhood friends competing right now, and Smith Rivera extended that chicken wing a little too much in front of the official, and the easy call inside, and you see it right here. Watch the right arm push off.
And Cooney sold it. Yes, he did.
You know, he sold it, but again, it was a quick pressure. Syracuse has a chance again offensively.
Malachi Richardson with a runner. Off the window, and they'll say no. Mike Stevens says, Player control foul, it goes the other way. His fourth.
Derrickson again, anticipating the drive, and now not being stuck to a position on the court, slides his feet, gets set, absorbs the charge. That's what you call outstanding help side team defense.
Jim Georgetown has done a remarkable job defending the baseline.
Well, that's attention to detail in your scouting report, knowing that Syracuse loves to drive to the baseline.
Hopkins does not want a foul. He wants pressure, but not a foul. Splitting the double team. He gets the foul, and the crowd can smell the victory now.
And part of that is 14 seconds left on the shot clock. You kind of question whether you'll allow that much time to go off the clock. Maybe you foul early, force Georgetown to get to the free throw line and make free throws.
Well, let's face it, that's one of the things that Mike Hopkins is going to have to get used to. As great a assistant coach as he's been, assistants generally are not making those calls at a moment's notice. That's a head coach's responsibility. He'll grow from this, as will his team.
No doubt.
Howard gives it up to Leiden for the slam. And a quick timeout taken by Hopkins.
Howard has a quick little hesitation move. Long body can glide by. The presence to make the play inside gives Syracuse a chance again to set their defense.
Today's game is sponsored by The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy. It hits theaters January 8th, rated R. A notable game for one of the great voices in college sports. That's Rich Chvatkin. 1,300 games over 42 years as the voice of Georgetown. His family is so proud of him, and in our trips into Washington, D.C., it's always a pleasure to chat with him.
I should ask Rich if he remembers our game in Vegas when we were able to walk away with a victory versus Georgetown. Dikembe Mutombo, a good friend of mine. Alonzo Mourning was hurt. Dikembe says, Double J, we allowed you to win that game. We felt sorry for you. I said, man, stop it. If you know Dikembe, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, a quick foul given up right away off that inbounds.
That's an offensive foul given again
by Campbell.
Another opportunity for Syracuse. Best shot available is what you want to get. That wasn't it.
Roberson not there. There's a follow by Benajay. 41.6 left, and it's an 8-point game.
Get the ball in the hands of DSR. He's going to be a sound decision maker.
Copeland doubled, and there's a turnover.
Once again, now, what have you seen? Syracuse really speeding up Georgetown, forcing them to act quicker, as a result turning the basketball over.
Now you get a 3-ball here. Now we're talking a 5-point game, 2 possessions. There's absolutely no question that through the years we've seen 20-point leads dissipate very quickly in the college game, and particularly when you see a team amping up pressure and playing with a sense of desperation, as Syracuse is.
Well, Tim, here's the thing. When the pressure picks up, the game speeds up, that's when you need to slow down as an offensive player. Because you're going to play into the hands of the defensive team. You're going to make some irrational decisions with the basketball. Right now, Georgetown needs to gather its breath, understand how they've beaten the press before, which is by space and passing the basketball.
Since the 6-minute mark, Georgetown has turned it over 5 times and missed 5 free throws.
It's sped up. Excellent job by Syracuse of forcing the action.
Howard, who has been driving in a relentless fashion, uses the glass, gets it to go, and just like that, it's a 2-possession game. Tough pass, but DSR claims it. Almost palmed it, too.
In the corner, a tough position.
Got a foul, and Trey Campbell is probably the guy you want to foul. He's missed 2 of his last 3 at the stripe.
And ultimately, if Syracuse can't come back and win this game, the thing you pick up if you're Coach Hopkins is the guys never quit.
Yeah.
Okay? They were down, not shooting well, not playing well. You see the fight. You see that desire to get better with these young men.
I think we may be looking potentially. It's early in the season, but we may potentially be looking at 2 teams that could go sweet.
The beauty of find out who you are as a team about a month and a half into the season. So we're still early.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're still trying to get a sense and feel of who you are as a team.
The talent is there. The narrative maybe not so much. Villager can't get it to go. Derrickson gets the rebound and another foul. This one against Leiden. There are times when we have to just say it for what it is. Being on hand for this rivalry is a blessing.
And Tim, I was so excited about this game just because of the history of it itself, my recruitment process.
Oh, yeah. There's Big John with Otto Porter. Had a big game in that matchup when they last played as conference rivals a few years back. I had the good fortune of being on hand for that game. It's truly a thrill to ever have a chance to see Georgetown, Syracuse on your schedule.
You better believe it. I'm so happy I had the opportunity to do it with my man, too.
Leiden gets the easy one. So they get 78-70. A little back and forth between Franklin Howard and Devontae Smith-Rivera.
Really?
Getting a little chippy here.
You think he wasn't going to be? And it's all in love. I mean, in regards to the competitive nature of not only the players, but the teams. You know, I always like a little something, a little trash talk.
Yeah.
Howard is in good nature in regards to the game. Howard, a young fella.
Now, whenever you see a player talking out of the corner of his mouth, it's never good.
It's never good.
It's never good.
But, you know, DSR was like, listen, young fella, you got a long way to go. I've been here and done that, okay? Respect your elders a little bit more. But I love to see the competitive nature, though. What a lot of kids could hang their heads for not playing well, the Syracuse team didn't. But Georgetown applied the pressure from the outset of this game and kind of set the tempo and tone of what this afternoon was going to ultimately be like.
Benajay takes it all the way to make it a 79-72 score. And the Hoyas will move to 4-3. Syracuse will drop to 5-2. But more importantly, Jim Jackson, these 2 teams meet again. And in conference realignment, I'm so happy that the institutions see fit to keep this rivalry alive.
Well, the real winners were the participants, yes, but us who were able to watch and see this. Georgetown won the game ultimately. They applied the pressure. Syracuse itself fought extremely hard under some difficult circumstances, but both teams are going to learn and grow. And again, the Sweet 16 is not out of the picture. Again, it's early, but both of these teams have the talent to make a deep run.
Both sent a message today. Great being with you again, partner.
Always, my friend.
All right. That's our final score. These 2 men help make this rivalry special. And the young guns from this generation, millennials, know all too well what it means to suit up for Syracuse and Georgetown, as do we at Fox Sports. For our entire crew, I'm Jim Jackson. Tim Brando saying so long from our nation's capital.